Hello! I am so happy to be here with you for our Make Time for Business Prep Week number 4. And what we're doing here, just to catch those of you up who may be new here or maybe just jumping into this series, is here's the deal. Make Time for Business is a course that is going to be released February 3rd. February 3rd, you're going to actually get access to the course for free for 2 weeks. And during that 2 weeks, you'll have access to the 5 core lessons. So what I wanted to do is do a warm-up series because we released this back in December. We started promotion December 26th. I thought, well, how can I help the people who are waiting for the videos to be released get the most out of the Make Time for Business program? And I said, well, I'm going to create a warm-up curriculum based on what I know that you need to know, understand, and believe in order to make use of what I'll be teaching in Make Time for Business. What I'm teaching in Make Time for Business is a system of time and energy management so that you can do the things that make you money in order to ultimately do less and have more space in your life and your business. And so it goes from your yearly planning to your quarterly, to your monthly, to your weekly, to your daily. So it's actually a full time and energy management system with a step-by-step, ironically, it's a pretty linear step-by-step system in order to incorporate cyclical living in your life and in your business. So you don't have to have a well-established business for this to apply to you. In fact, I know a lot of folks who are employees who have implemented these strategies and given themselves a lot more time and space in their schedules so that they have less stress, they're not bringing work home, and they're able to get bigger results and ideally really wow their employer, but also have less stress and maybe be able to get promotions, etc. So that's what's happening with Make Time for Business. I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the chat here. If you have not yet signed up for Make Time for Business, you're going to want to go over to maketimeforbusiness.com. Again, you're going to get the core lessons for free for 2 weeks, and then there will be a chance to upgrade if you need more time, if you want the enhancement videos, if you want to listen to the course as a private podcast, we're adding that in for the upgrade, and then we'll have some bonuses. So total disclosure, that's the way. Yeah, Ryan, that was your example. I was just talking about you. And I actually used your example in my email today to our list. So that was really, so thank you for being such a awesome person who's incorporating this material in not only your business, but also your job, because listen, it works across the board. Whether you're working for yourself or working for somebody else, work is work. And we can be more effective and we can be more spacious with it and we can be more joyful and also more successful. And that's what the Make Time for Business program is all about. Okay, so I'm so excited you're all here. I see that I want to say the lines are filling up back from the days of teleconferences. Oh my God, I'm totally dating myself. So what I want to talk about today though is how to ask for and receive help. So how many of you, were any of you just on my Facebook Live that I did on my main page, on my public page? I would love to know, were you on that? I really got on a rant. So sometimes I really go for it and I get really passionate about topics. And I really went on a rant about why the epidemic of people not asking for the help they need is so problematic and it is so self-destructive. I mean, this is not just about like asking your kids to set the table. Like this is deeply ingrained self-sabotage behavior that we have going on, the not asking for help. And there's a lot of reasons for it. Okay, great. So Hansi was there, Wendy was there, Taylor was there, Linda was there. Amazing. You all, if you weren't there, you don't need to go watch it right now, but add it to your saved videos so you can go back and watch it or listen to it another time. Because I really went for it in terms of the reasons why we don't ask for help. And I recommend going back and watching that. Maybe, I know Takesha, you're here. Do you mind popping the link to that video right in the chat so that folks can find it right away? Just the permalink there. But I promised that I would share the 3 ways to overcome our tendency to not ask for help, which is this deeply insidious behavior that's that's really holding us back as women and as all people, whether you identify as female or not. But it does affect women in a different way, and it affects all folks who are marginalized in various ways, in different ways. So what I want to talk about are the 3 ways to overcome this. And it's really, really simple because, do less. I'm all about the simplest path to the biggest result. And so if the biggest result is you feeling as supported as you possibly could be, and as held and as helped so that you can show up and shine and be your biggest, most beautiful self and be your calmest, most resilient self, then I'm all about doing less, right? And so I want to give you the simplest way to do this. And then I'm going to work through, hi, Julie, I'm going to work through with you on some of your getting help challenges. So if you have a challenge around getting help, or if you want to just share with me now, why is it, if you do struggle with asking for help, and I'm assuming you do because otherwise you wouldn't be here, what is the reason for that? Is there a particular thing that stops you from asking for help? What is the issue? And so just let me know. We can do some laser coaching. So the 3 steps to asking for help effectively, there's kind of like a pre-step, and the pre-step is something I'm teaching in Make Time for Business. And that pre-step are these weekly check-in meetings with yourself and with other key players in your life, so that you are pre-paving and seeing ahead of time the various roadblocks in scheduling and life logistics, so that you can see, for example, I literally just texted my mother this morning, hey, Mom, on Thursday, my babysitter can't show up until 5:10, but I need to be somewhere right at 5. Can you come over so that you can be with the kids from 4:40 until 5:10 so I can go to my dance class and so that the babysitter can get here? So it's just like, thank you, Takesha, for posting that video. It's so simple, right? Like, that's such a simple ask. I'm asking for 30 minutes for my mom to come play with my kids. She loves doing it. They love seeing her. It's not hard. She lives across town. But I will tell you, the repercussions of that ask are so multifold. So number 1, it gives my mom a chance to be with her grandkids, which she loves. It gives her a break from a situation in her life, which I won't get into because it's her life, but that she needs a break from. It also makes our connection stronger, because I will say, and this is like my deep programming and stuff I'm still working on. As a child of divorce, as the youngest child, I was the one who was there. My sister had already gone to college when my parents split up. And I was always the kid who was like the together kid. And I have had to unlearn the behavior of having it together. And with my mother, it's really great at this stage of my life to be able to lean on her, because I've been historically so well practiced in being the kid who always has it together and doesn't need help. So it's part of my personal growth, and it makes our relationship stronger when I'm able to, not in a needy way, but in a like, hey, can you help me out in this way? And that creates this softness that actually creates a stronger bond between us. Not that I'm using, I don't want you to think, because there's a shadow side to this, which is that some people manipulatively use chaos and having trouble in their lives as a way to and receive love. This is not a pattern I have. You have a pattern, you can address that. But I'd like so you know that's not what I'm talking about. But and also I go to dance class next, so I know that going to dance class is critical for me to be parenting for days. And I just know that that's going to be really important, so that I get to the end of the week and I feel like that was so much fun. Yes, I want Mike to come home, but like I don't feel strung out and like the moment he comes in the door, like I'm about to snap, right? Like I want to have a really lovely time with my kids. So I know that going to dance class is going to be critical. So that's kind of the repercussions of this. And so ahead of time, having that weekly planning meeting with yourself and other key players as part of Make Time for Business, I'm giving you a cheat sheet for it and a sample agenda, so you know what to cover and what you do in that meeting. It takes like 15 minutes when you do it every week. It's really not a big deal. And I promise you, it saves us like so many arguments. It saves us, it makes parenting so much easier. It helps us connect with our community. Like it's literally such a game changer. So there's a whole lesson on that in Make Time for Business. So I'm going to tell you the 3 things after having that upfront agenda meeting, which is number 1, you need to ask early. You need to ask early, because if you are asking for help and you're already in the throes of chaos or a crisis, yes, of course we can ask for help when we're in a crisis. I absolutely do that. Like if you're rushing your kid to the emergency room and you have a newborn, like, yeah, you should definitely ask for help in that moment in crisis. When I was in labor, we definitely asked for help. Well, no, we had pre-paved. We had asked early for several people to be on call as possible childcare for Penelope. And then based on when I went into labor, we knew who we were going to call. So it ended up being my friend Carrie Montgomery, who was with Penelope while I had Ruby, which was really special. And then it was my dad and my stepmom and my half sister. So you want to ask early, because when you ask early, it just makes it so much easier to get the help you need. So that's why that weekly planning meeting is so critical. And that's why the planning practices that I teach in Make Time for Business are so critical, so that you actually know what's happening ahead of time and you're not living life reactively, but instead you're living life proactively, and you're giving yourself the space to know, oh, a week from now, I actually am going to need support. Okay, well, who am I going to call first? And if they can't do it, who am I going to call next? So like, I know I have a few key players for each scenario that I can call, and I can kind of go through my list so that all my eggs aren't in one basket. And if that person's not available, I'm effed basically, right? So you want to ask early. And when you ask early, I also recommend asking often. It doesn't mean always asking the same person for help, right? Because that might get a little old, but asking often in terms of making it a habit, so that you are in the habit of, I have this one girlfriend, I just freaking love her. She's like my favorite mom blogger who doesn't blog. I text her all of my mothering and parenting questions. She's so sweet. She lives down the street. We went to high school together. So we've known each other since we were 13. And she's got 3 kids. And she was like, I'm going to the grocery store. Do you need me to pick up anything to save you a trip? So beautiful, right? So she's done this several times, and now I do it too. So this is actually the opposite example of offering help habitually, but we've created between the two of us, because we're mothering kids who are around the same age, and we've been through various crises, and we've known each other for so long. We've created this ecosystem between her and I, and also within our neighborhood, where asking others for support and help is just part of the way we do life. So it's not like, oh, I'm having an emergency, therefore I need help. It's, I am a human being, therefore I need help. So what do I need help with today would be a great question to ask yourself, so that you are reprogramming yourself to understand that needing support is part of being human. Needing support is not a sign of weakness, and it's not a sign of emergency. So that'll calm your whole central nervous system down, because every single day you're asking, what do I need help with? And P.S., if you're not using the Do Less planner, one of my girlfriends reported in that she had actually organized her time the first week she got the planner way better for herself to get her needs met, because the planner prompted her in the following ways. it asks in the weekly spread, how can I fit more of me into this week? Now, that's not specifically a question about asking for help, but if you're talking about how can I put more of me in my schedule this week, then you might be thinking about, okay, well, I really want to go to that yoga class. All right, well, would it be possible for my partner to take the kids? Or, oh, I really want to spend Friday writing. Would it be possible for my virtual assistant to actually clean out my inbox and at least sort through what I need to deal with versus what she can deal with or he can deal with? And then also on the second page of the spread, of the weekly spread, it says, this is how I'm caring for myself this week. So you're pre-planning yourself in your schedule, which by default will have you start thinking about how and where do I need support. And then also in the quarterly planning spread in the Do Less Planner, it has you, or the seasonal, it has you actually say, there's two places. So as you're doing your quarterly planning, it says, I already have the following available to me to support me in reaching my goals, and I need the following to support me to reach my goals. So quarterly, that's baked right into the planner. If you don't have a planner yet, you can go to, I'm just going to type it in here, katenorthrup.com/planner. We are sold out of the physical copy, but you can get the digital copy. And if you're an analog person, you can actually just get the digital copy printed and bound. I know somebody in Canada did it for $30. So you can totally do that. Or we have folks who are using it on their iPad with their stylus and the GoodNotes app and loving it. And then we have folks who are using it as a writable PDF. So they're actually typing right into it. And then we also have folks who are just printing off pages as they want them. So these are the different choices that you have. But it's worked right into the planner system. So asking early and asking often. And then the third one becomes really easy, because if you're asking early and you're asking often, sort of by default, it becomes easy to ask kindly. Because when we ask kindly, we're very easy to help. Like when I say, hey babe, do you mind grabbing me a smoothie on your way home from the office? And like, I've had a great morning and I've worked out and I got my needs met and I'm listening to good music and I'm not starving, right? Like I'm not having a blood sugar emergency. It's very easy for Mike to say yes versus like if I'm pissed at him, he doesn't want to, like, if you are in a state of never asking for help, you are going to be pissed a lot and you won't even know it. And you will be so passive aggressive and so bitter and so resentful and such a freaking martyr that no one's going to want to be around you. So I am telling you this like from love, but you may very well be repelling the support that you desire because you are not asking early enough and you're not asking often enough. So there may be a bit of a backlog of resentment to work through, but if you start asking out ahead, it becomes really easy to just like get the help you need because you're already getting your needs met. So then asking for getting your needs met just feels normal as opposed to feels like some emergency situation where you're already pissed from 20 years of not getting your needs met. So that's what we've got for you. Those are your 3 steps. Ask early, ask often, and ask kindly. And I'd love for you right now to just look at your day or look at your weekend and this perfect day, new moon. It's a great day to set intentions. And sort of like it's the beginning of a new cycle, and ask, what could I get help with today? Or what could I get some support with this weekend? And who am I going to ask and when? And then do it and see what happens and just get in the practice of every day. Every day I'm asking for help. Every day I'm getting support because I'm a human being. And you know what that does? When you are filled up, when your tank is full, then when your girlfriend down the street is having a crisis, you are so much more available to support her. And then you know what else? Then she's so much more available to help you the next time you need it. So we can create this ecosystem of interconnectedness so none of us has to feel like we're trying to be this warrior on our own anymore, because like that sucks. It's really lonely and it'll make you sick. So That's it. Early, often, kindly. And I am going to read some of these. Okay, so Taylor struggles with asking for help because she feels guilty. So throw up some hearts if that resonates with you, or some, thumbs up. So if you feel guilty for asking for help, I want you to know that there could be from various things, right? I don't know you, but there's like a deep-seated belief underneath that your needs matter less than other people, and that you matter less than other people. And that's really painful, but it's normal in society, right? Because we've as women, we've been always taught that we matter less than other people, and that our job is to make other people happy, and be pleasing. And so it makes sense that you might feel guilty. And I just want to offer you an alternative belief, which is that when you ask others for help, it lets them in. So it actually creates a stronger connection between you. It also gives them an opportunity to practice boundary setting, because just because you ask doesn't mean they have to say yes, right? Like, that's why I have several tiers of people or situations that I could ask for help in, because I'm not always dumping it on one person. If I was asking my mom for help 15 times a day, of course I would feel guilty. But that's why we need interconnected webs of society, so we can tap into various sources of support, not just one or two. And then the other thing is that when we are doing everything ourselves, we are communicating to the other key people in our life that we don't believe in them. So when we're doing all the parenting, we are communicating to our co-parent, if we have one, I don't believe you're capable of raising your own children. And that's going to be awful in any co-parenting situation. When we are doing everything at work and not allowing somebody else to do it, we are communicating, I believe I'm smarter than you. I believe I'm better than you. I believe you are not capable of doing this, so I'm going to do it all. So just as a corollary, Taylor, I want to invite you to see, are there some places in my life that I'm not asking for help that are actually preventing other people from stepping into their greatness, and where I'm communicating that I don't believe in others? Because ultimately that's sort of like, when you say it that way, you realize it's actually not selfish to ask for help. It's self-absorbed not to ask for help, because we have this heightened sense of importance. And Jill, for you, other people do it wrong and I wind up doing more work. So also an interesting one. Other people end up doing it wrong and I end up doing more work. So there's doing things wrong because it hasn't been communicated clearly. And then there's also doing things in a different way than you would. So for example, at Thanksgiving, I barely did anything other than make sure my house was clean and set the table. And, I coordinated everything. And then I made gravy, and that was it. And my dad at Thanksgiving dinner looked at me. He goes, I know that your whole thing is do less, but I didn't know it was do nothing. And I did not take the bait, and I just laughed. And I was like, hey, listen, I'm having an awesome day. And P.S., like, other people only had to bring green beans or only had to bring mashed potatoes. Like, it's not like I was asking anybody to do more than their fair share, because we were spreading the responsibility over a lot of people. And when a lot of people carry something together, then it's lighter. We all know that, right? If you've ever tried to move a canoe, you know that this is true. And so he said to me, well, it's so interesting, because I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't be able to ask all these people for help because I would be afraid that they would do it wrong. And I was like, that's really interesting that you believe that the way you do things is right and that the way other people do things is wrong. So what's that about? And I don't know what that's about for any of you who resonate with this, but I know for me, yeah, did other people do things in a way that I wouldn't have done them? Totally. The mashed potatoes came in a very different way than I ever would have imagined. The turkey ended up, actually, part of it wasn't even cooked through. And you know what? I didn't care, because I was happy and there was plenty of turkey that was cooked to eat. So we were all happy. I was calm. I got to get a workout in. And like, my kids were happy. My husband was happy. Everyone was there who I loved. I mean, not everyone, but a lot of people were there who I loved. and it was joyful. And so, yeah, did it happen in a different way than I would have done it? Absolutely. And you know what was so cool about that? I got to be introduced to all of these new ways of doing Thanksgiving dinner that were different than what I would have done. And you know what? If somebody cuts lettuce in a different way than you would have done, or makes mashed potatoes in a different way, it doesn't really matter. And in your business, I understand that there are usually bigger repercussions than like the way lettuce is cooked. But honestly, I have noticed within our company that the more I empower our team to step in, like Takesha and I were working together on the Do Less Planner. And I was like, okay, well, I'll make the mock-up of the layout and whatever, but I was like, I don't really know how to do that, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. And Takesha just said, well, I know how to do that. I'll do it. And she made the most stunning Google Doc layout template thing, mock-up of the planner with like all these links and all this. She did it so much. Did she do it differently than I would have? Absolutely. And she did it 10 million times better than I could have because I didn't know how to do that. And she has this skill set that I don't have. So folks, we are better together, and we are better when we stay in our lane and then allow other people to do their zone of genius and contribute their greatness. And it's a practice. I totally understand this, but I would love to invite those of you who think that others will do it wrong to look at that as others will do it differently. And then I'll get to learn new ways of doing things, and I will also have more time to do other things. So you only need to go all in on the things that are the best and greatest use of your time and energy, and everyone else should be doing all the other things. Because when all of us work in our zone of genius and do the things that are the best use of our time and energy, everything gets handled. But the problem is, so many of us are trying to do everything, so we're never working in our zone of genius because we're so freaking exhausted, and the level of excellence on the planet is brought down by the fact that we're trying to do too much. But if we would all stick to our lane and allow other people to step in their greatness, the level on the planet of excellence would rise collectively, all together. Okay, so, all right. Ruth says the Facebook Live you just had was so on point. I'm a single mama who needs to ask for more help. Yes. Okay. Great. So Kelly is sharing that I don't know what to ask for. So that's such a great one. So if you don't know what to ask for in terms of asking for help, think about the friction points in your day. Think about the friction points in your work day, and think about the friction points in your personal life. And then just look at what those are. Okay. So is my friction point when my husband goes out of town for work? Well, do I have a friend who doesn't have children yet, or isn't going to, who could come stay with me for a few days during that time? I know that my friend Eliza has come to stay with me several times when Mike's going away. Could I do it by myself? Absolutely. I've done it a million times. Will it be more fun and energizing with Eliza? Totally. So that's an example of I look at friction points that I know are upcoming. And it really is just like putting a filter on, right? We can have rose-colored glasses, and I want you to put on your opportunities for help glasses and begin to see your life through the lens of these hot spots of when you look at I don't know, there's some sort of medical imaging, but also when you look at a website, you can pull up this website that shows you where are the hot spots on your website that people click on. So it would look like a hot spot of where are the hot spots in your life. Those are the areas to get help. And you can get really creative. And I would begin to ask around. I love asking my friends about the setup of their team at work and their team at home. Who's on your team? What is your scaffolding? Who and what are holding you up? Because I'm endlessly fascinated by this topic of all the possibilities of the ways that we can support each other. All right. I think we handled the one about it feeling like an inconvenience to other people. Ryan is just reflecting, I need to ask earlier. And we just have to practice. You are totally right. We just need to practice. Okay, great. So great. So Lisa says we have a community of mamas who can lean on each other for school pickup. It takes a while to get the point of actually activating it, but once you do, it's such a great safety net. So yes, Lisa, this is brilliant. So great to see you, Lisa, by the way. I loved being with you at Kripalu. So you can be the one, it's like, I don't know if any of you saw that YouTube video a while back about like the one person on the dance floor and then all the people come, right? You may need to be the one to boldly in your community step out and do it differently than other people the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time, to be the one to be like, hey, let's all support each other. So you may need to be the one to organize the carpool circle, or to organize the meal train, or to organize, like you may need to be that central spoke at first to create a culture of support within your community. Because how we shift culture is we start to act differently. And then the people around us start to notice that we're happier, and they're like, oh, I want to have what she's having, or I want to have what he's having, or what they're having. And then they start to shift as well. I can tell you, I know for certain that during the time that Mike was sick, when I asked for help more often and I genuinely needed it, I know I forged bonds in our neighborhood that are so much stronger. And now, like my neighbor Abby will text me at 9:00 when she's having an emergency with her kid, because she doesn't feel bad because I did it already. And so I sort of like ripped off the Band-Aid of the false identity of I have it together. Like I maybe was the first person in our neighborhood to say, I don't have it together, I need help. And now slowly but surely everyone else is able to raise their hand to be like, I don't have it all together either. Me neither. So we can all create these communities of support and this web. And you may need to be the bold one to first step out and be like, I don't have it together. I know that secretly none of us do. Like, here's how we can support one another. So Lisa, I love that. That was genius. Okay, great. CJ, the update on planner delivery is they are still on the boat from China, and the estimated delivery in our warehouse is February 7th. We have been sending out regular updates. I think the last one was probably about 2 weeks ago. If you ordered a physical planner and you have not gotten an update from us, you can email info@katenorthrup.com. And CJ, just go ahead and open the digital planner file. You got it for free with the physical planner. So just open it up and print a few pages. I'm just going to challenge you to like move through your resistance, and rather than anxiously await the delivery, just start using the planner now. Okay. Great. So what else do we have? Okay, I'm just looking here. Okay, Sarah says, I have a move coming up. I need to go through and purge and pack. I'm so dreading it because I thought I have to do it by myself. How can I ask for help with this? Oh, I love this question. So Sarah, I needed to move out of my entire apartment in New York City. I had lived there for 6 years, and I was moving into all my stuff into like a postage stamp of a storage unit. And what I did is I had one girlfriend who was in between gigs at that time. And so she offered to come and help me because it would be fun. She was just like, do you want help packing? We'll play music. I was like, yes, I'll buy the lunch. Like we'll make it fun. And then I asked everybody in my community to come. I had like all these things that I needed to get rid of. And so I put them all up as a blog post. And this was before the days of Facebook Marketplace. And like, I live in a town where we have an online yard sale Facebook group, but before dealing with putting them on Craigslist and selling them to strangers and whatever, I had this list of items that were available, and I put it on a blog post. I sent it out to everyone I knew in the area, and I said, come to say goodbye. I'm leaving New York. come to say goodbye. And anybody who wants to come to my apartment and say goodbye, you have to take something with you. And so they left, every single person left with an item. Some of them were free and some of them they bought depending on, what the item was. And so everyone was required to leave with an item. And that was how I got rid of most of my stuff. And I knew it was going to a good home, and I asked for help that way. So Sarah, I would say, I'm ordering in food. We're going to, it's going to be like if somebody organized a packing and purging party, one of my girlfriends, I want to hang out with my girlfriends anyway. I'll pack and purge with them while we chat it up. Like, totally great. And you could even, like, I don't know if you're a mom, but if you have kids, like I would have 100%, if I needed to pack and purge, I would hire a babysitter and say, like, I've got the childcare covered. Bring your kid for an hour or whatever. You can pack and purge and gab it up with me. The kids will be watched. They'll be doing an activity or watching a movie or whatever. And that gives the mama a break and she gets to help you. Like, we got to get creative, folks. We got to share our resources. Okay, great. I'm just looking. Okay. Yes. So great. So Ruth says, I'm a single mom, adoptive, so no dad in the picture at all, and I'm a solo business owner. How do I ask for more help? Having additional expenses isn't really doable right now. Totally get it. Because P.S., when I talk about asking for more help, a lot of people assume I mean hiring help. And while that's certainly possible, it's not possible for everybody. So have you noticed that during this conversation, I really haven't talked about paying for help? That's intentional because I want you to be thinking about how we can pool our resources collectively in ways that don't mean raising our expenses. Now, when you can hire help in your business and when you can hire help with children and with your home, I'm a huge advocate of that. But if you can't, then, I also understand that. And these things can change over time. So Ruth, for you and anybody else, I want to know what your ideas are for getting help. So I'd really actually like to hear from you rather than me telling you, because you know your situation better. And I want you to begin to exercise your getting help muscles. So what are your ideas? I really want you to really get creative here. And with the examples I've been giving, think outside the box. Okay, great. Okay, Anne says, I feel so overwhelmed by this. I don't have a large group of people who I lean on, but I'm going to try and ask for more. So Anne, these communities are built over time. And again, I talked about being the first one in your community to step up and say this, and you can bring other people in on a group text thread, like if it's about childcare, or a group email, and of course you can ask people's permission ahead of time, or a Facebook group where you become the ringleader for the community. And many of us have to actually be the person who starts that. And so I'm going to recommend that you widen your base of support. Okay. Janet says, my mind is blown. I'm overcoming generations of programming. If you want it done right, you have to do it yourself. I can see how detrimental it is to those I love that I'm keeping them from making a contribution and communicating to them that they are less. Radical changes coming in my world. So exciting. Hey, Janet, can you report back? I'm so curious how this goes for you. I would just love a follow-up. You can send me a DM or email into info@katenorthrup.com. Okay. So I'm going to go down to the bottom here. I know we have a lot of questions. Great. So Erica is going to be asking her husband to help her cook dinner or do all the cooking a time or two per week. Yeah, I'm going to really push you, Erica, and say, take a night or two, take 2 nights off a week where he makes dinner and you just don't have to think about it. Like, that's awesome. Absolutely. Okay. Great. So Jennifer is asking about the planner. All you need to do Jennifer, is go to katenorthrup.com/planner. And I have showed exactly what all the pages look like. So if you just go to katenorthrup.com/planner, I'm not worried about people copying it. I put every single page on the internet. So, cause listen, folks, there is more content where that came from. Okay, Takesha is going to do a purging party, handbags for everyone. I love that. That's great. Okay, so Claudia says she just discovered and got the digital planner and is a little bit lost. Where should I start? So Claudia, I am actually recording a planner tutorial this afternoon, and that will be emailed out to all of our planner purchasers, and probably posted in this group too. So if you are wondering where to start, just go ahead and wait for that video. But I will say, just for now, start with the dailies. So start in the daily section and just start doing the daily energy tracker morning and evening. And this will set you up. So start at the micro and then you can work into the macro. And then the Make Time for Business program is going to give you more insight as well. But just start using the daily energy tracker day and night, and start doing the weekly planning ritual on Sunday. So I would say those are the two things to start with, Claudia. And there are instructions for those two pieces, the dailies and the weeklies, right at the beginning of the planner. And anybody can get the weekly planning ritual guide right at katenorthrup.com/list. And again, that was katenorthrup.com/list. I'll just write that into the chat here. Okay. Marina is saying, I love the Do Less Planner. My and the universe's to-do list has manifested 2 days ago. I realized this morning as I checked. Thank you so much, Kate. Marina, it's like freaking amazing. Every time I put something on the universe's to-do list, it just happens. And sometimes I forget to do it, but when I do it, it works. Okay. So Ryan is just saying that she experienced being the change and being the first person to stand up and need help in her community. She says it feels lonely at first, but it feels so powerful when you see people change on their own and then tell you that watching you was the reason. It makes me feel so good. Ryan, I love that so much. It makes me so happy. I love that. Okay. I'm just going to see. Okay, Viv, if you need the energy tracker app, I promise you it is in my mind, and making an app is far more involved than you can ever possibly imagine from a development standpoint and from a financial standpoint. But just know this is in our plans to create the app. It's just a matter of time. Okay, so Erica is setting up an advisory board in her business to help her with strategic decisions. It's a lot to identify everything I need to do and decide everything on my own. I love that, Erica. So that's really smart. And I'd love to know, how are you doing that? And is there any compensation for them? So this is what's so powerful about a mastermind, by the way, is that in a mastermind, you're all benefiting from the group mind of everyone else. That's why you do a mastermind. So they weigh in on your business and you can weigh in on their business. But you could create a mastermind of moms, of single moms. You could create a mastermind of people who work in HR. It doesn't have to be business owners. And this is a group of people you're committed to showing up and supporting one another so you can be each other's advisory board, essentially, for your life and business. And I can't even tell you how many blind spots I have been made clear to me through being in my mastermind. Now I pay for one, but I had never paid for one before. They were all peer-to-peer, and it's amazing. So we did a whole podcast episode. If you just Google Kate Northrup Masterminds, I'm sure you'll find the Kate and Mike Show episode. We did it in August. Okay, so Kelly is saying, I totally micromanage my husband, and it's something I've tried letting go. It's with our toddler. He has chronic kidney disease, so it's hard with daily medicines and caffeine. I'm slowly getting there. Kelly, I really want to empathize with you as a mom with a sick child. I do understand that there are situations where it's a life or death situation, and the making sure that everything is done perfectly is critical. And so I want you to give yourself some grace there, and that's complex and that's really intense. And also just feel into your energy as you are talking to your husband. And can you take slower breaths? Can you take them in and out through your nose? And can you do something like feeling your feet on the ground during that time to get in your body? Because when we are able to get in our bodies, we're actually signaling our bodies that we are safe. And you turn on the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and restore. And when we communicate from that place, which is really what I'm talking about when I'm talking about asking kindly, is actually asking calmly. Because when we have settled our central nervous system first, we are no longer looking for somebody else to give us a sense of safety. And when we are trying to cling to somebody else to give us a sense of safety, that is repulsive and that is exhausting for the people around us. So Kelly, if you can do some breathing and then just feel your feet on the ground and slow down the rate at which you're talking to your husband, that may actually help. And you may not need to change anything else than how you're doing it. So I hope that's useful for you. All right, folks, I'm going to wrap it up. This has been so much fun to be together. So here are your one action step, two action steps. One is ask for help in the next 3 days. So ask somebody for help with something in the next 3 days. It doesn't have to be something that's going to happen in the next 3 days. It could be something that's happening 2 weeks from now or a month from now. But ask for help and start practicing daily. And please share in the group. I'd love to hear, and I know our other members will get inspiration from you. Share your practical examples. You know, I shared a lot of like logistical examples. I love the minutia. I love to talk about the minutia of like, okay, so you set up the text group, and then it was the group of moms from school drop off. And then how did that work? Like, I love all of those details. So feel free to share those because that's how we repeat these things in our own lives. And then your second thing is to go to maketimeforbusiness.com and sign up for the program. It'll be free for 2 weeks. And you can get that over at maketimeforbusiness.com. So thank you all so much for being here. This was really, really fun. It's such an important topic. I will be back next Friday for our final conversation preparing us for Make Time for Business. And it'll be at 11 a.m. Eastern Time next Friday in the Do Less group. And we are going to be talking about strategic planning in your business and in your life. So if you're a planning junkie, you're going to love this conversation. If you're somebody who just totally avoids planning, I'm going to give you some helpful tips to get started so that you can begin to live life proactively instead of reactively. So that's going to be a really, really fun conversation. All right. Thanks, everybody. I will see you next week. Bye.